and welcome back. It's your friendly neighborhood French Canadian. I hope you're having yourself a wonderful day. It's Friday, rejoice. And guess what? We have more Mortal Kombat movie news. Actually, there is this whole interview on SyFy which gives us a ton, and I mean a ton of information on the movie. I think I didn't read through it all because I kind of wanted to read it in this video. But from what I read, it is a bit comforting to read. And there's also a lot more screenshots, which are pretty cool. I cannot get over Liu Kang's wardrobe. I just cannot. Every character looks freaking amazing. And then you have Liu Kang, who looks like he's wearing freaking rags, bro. I don't know, maybe it's one of those outfits that don't translate super well to the TV screen or the movie screen. I feel like they could have went with that little vest he has on in MK11, but I think this article seems to be very interesting and very informative, so let's read it. This movie has been in production for 11 years. And in the article it states, they were right, and for the past 11 years, Warner Brothers and New Line have been working to bring a full-length live-action reboot of Mortal Kombat to the big screen. So first, it goes into talking about the game's lore, which a lot of us are interested in, of course. In this article it says, Mortal Kombat is an Enter the Dragon-esque martial arts tournament in which competitors not only fight for their lives, but the lives of everyone in their universe. There are two warring clans, the Shirai Ryu and the Lin Kuei, who battle for control over several realms, including Earthrealm, Outer World, and of course there's a mistake here, it's Outworld, not Otherworld. Chaos Realm, Netherrealm, and more. So McCade and his team had their work cut out for them, extracting which storyline to use and which characters to include. The new story needed to capture audiences unfamiliar with the story, charm long-time fans, and introduce this universe to a new generation of potential superfans. One of the things that we've been talking about all throughout the development is respect. Respect for the fans, and respect for the characters, and respect for the canon of the game. So this is what Todd Garner says, and honestly, it's ironic, but I respect that view of him respecting the game and the canon and the lore. But for me, for someone who doesn't have high hopes for the storyline of this movie, this reassures me a whole lot. Now, as y'all know, if you watched the video where I saw the trailer for the first time, y'all know I shat on it pretty hard and I made all the fanboys cry in desperation. So my view, at least for the movie, before going through this article, is that the fighting will be really cool, but the storyline will be lacking. But I hope that this article will, ease some of those fears, because it seems that it really goes in depth with everything. So, like the fact that he says that about the lore, yes, is reassuring, but then why did they have to make the invitation to the tournament a freaking birthmark in the shape of an actual dragon emblem? Because in the canon, Raiden is the one who went and picked all the Earthrealm warriors, right? There was no invitation, it was more of a let me not consult with the elder gods and let me pick all these really good fighters. But anyways, let's continue on. So they talk about the Scorpion's origin story. So they say we start off the movie in the 15th century Japan, so that's really cool. I love that. Bennett explains where you have Joe Taslim, Sub-Zero, and Hiroyuki Sanada Scorpion in a fight. As previously announced, Taslim will be playing Binhan. Oh my gosh, bro. Do these people not even correct the freaking spelling on their freaking articles? Otherworld, Binhan. Yeah, throw him in the bin, alright. Jesus. Anyways, the first cryomancer to call himself Sub-Zero, who competed in the Mortal Kombat tournament. So they continue on and say, add to that the multiple costumes and prosthetics we saw on the set of Sonata's head, and designs of a woman and child frozen in a block of ice. It's pretty safe to say that the franchise is taking us back to the origins of the game's lore. More freaking typos, this is annoying. In which Sub-Zero kills Sonata's family and his clan. Later, Sonata is resurrected as the Pyromancer Scorpion with revenge, serving as its purpose for entering the tournament. Oh, so it's not a birthmark now. Whack. So honestly, I like that. I like that they explore this. However, the fact that they're gonna shove all of that lore in a movie, like, I really hope this movie is gonna be at least 2 hours long. So I get less and less worried about the storyline and more worried about the pacing of the story. I really hope they nail it down. So continuing on, they talk about Cole Young and the fact that he's not Johnny Cage, so that should reassure people who really hated that idea. But they say that Cole Young was created for a new audience, meaning this character is literally gonna be us if we didn't know what Mortal Kombat was, and we were thrown in a universe. So basically, he's gonna be the character that all the exposition is dumped on. Now, if y'all don't know what exposition means, it's basically where a character states exactly what they're doing and what's happening so that the audience can understand also what's happening. Sometimes it's done really well in media, and when it's done really well, you won't notice it. But usually in movies like this, it's really point blank. They exactly state what they're doing, and you're like, yes, I know, and then they state it again, and you're like, yes, I know what you're doing, you just said it. And then they state it again, and you're like, mother, shut up. And if y'all watch anime, you're gonna know this. They do this a lot in anime, especially in shonen, which is more designed for kids. So this is what they say about Cole Young. He's new to the franchise, a down on his luck MMA fighter. His daughter is both his biggest fan and his trainer, and she is trying to get him back into fighting shape. In before her name is Cassie. Cole sees the tournament as a place to redeem his former glory, but also as a mysterious birthmark that is an exact replica of the dragon-headed Mortal Kombat logo, which makes no freaking sense. But we're not going to talk about it in this article because we can't even bother to spell check it anyways, which might mean he is related to an existing character in MK lore. The birthmark is more of him being related to someone in MK lore. You know what? I'm fine with this. So the producer Todd Garner says, we needed an access point for everybody to come into the story that would keep existing canons intact. That's the character Lewis is playing. He's the eyes of anyone who's never played the game. So as I mentioned, he's going to be the exposition character. He's going to be the audience, right? So now they talk about the fighting, which in my opinion is the most important part of this. So they say if you love martial arts films, this is your movie. So this is awesome because I grew up on all the Jackie Chan movies. I grew up on, well, the original Mortal Kombat movie, and I know Bloodsport was a bit before my time, but I still watch those movies, Karate Kid, all that stuff. It's important to me that it does feel like a martial arts movie, that it does has that cheesiness, but also this really amazing fighting. So here's what they have to say about that. One of the blessings of working with actors who can also perform fight choreography is the resulting epic fight scenes. We have scenes with over 200 beats of fight choreography in one shot. So that's really cool. I don't know if they mean it's like, if y'all watch Zombieland 2, there's this one fight scene where there is no cut at all. It's just moving between cameras and the whole scene just doesn't cut. It goes on. And it's like minutes long, right? Which is really rare in movies, because usually they just do really quick cuts and the action doesn't really flow, like they throw a punch, then they cut, then they do another angle, so on and so forth. If they do this really long shot that doesn't stop, that would be really dope. So they talk about how Lewis Stan, so Cole Young, has significant training in Muay Thai, kickboxing, but trained in several styles to pull off his character's MMA origins. So the guy who plays Liu Kang also has extensive training in both Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. So it looks like a lot of the cast is trained in martial arts, which is freaking amazing. That's what you want to see. I think the casting was done perfectly for this because they wanted actors who could actually pull off all the martial art fighting and stunts, right? So honestly, this gives me a lot of happiness in my heart, especially when it comes to the fighting, which is why I said previously that the fighting was probably going to be really good. Next in the article, they talk about fatalities. Perhaps the most iconic feature of the Mortal Kombat games are fatalities, creative match-ending gruesome deaths. Fans will be delighted to know that this concept is going to be part of the film as well, which is primarily why the movie has an R rating. But McCade doesn't want you to think that the movie is a plotless gore fest, another freaking typo, Jesus. There's a lot of blood, but I didn't want it to get comedic when I wanted a serious moment. So in here, they talk about the fact that we see Cabal's blades, we see Reptile's tongue, we see Katana's fans, but we don't have any actual actors credited for them. If Katana is in the movie, she's obviously going to be played by Sissy Stringer, who also plays Mileena. Now, talking about Sissy Stringer, they actually talk about her mouth, and the biggest issue I had with the whole thing. So they say here, speaking of Stringer, some fans weren't impressed with Mileena's face reveal in the trailer. Her game counterpart features a signature Tarkatan mouth with large razor-like teeth, much like her fellow Tarkatan Baraka. Makeup and special effects artist Larry Van Doynoven, I hope that's how you say it, assured us that Mileena's teeth would be a combo of practical and CGI effects. So that's what I was thinking and I said in that video. And he says, the finished look will have her mouth sort of disengage in the way that it does in the game. Good. That is very good. One less thing to worry about. Now the biggest question of them all. What about Johnny Cage? So this is what Todd Garner says. I definitely will not say that there is no Johnny Cage in this movie, when pressed on the subject, and I promise you that Johnny Cage lives in the Mortal Kombat universe. So the fact that he says that Johnny Cage lives in that universe doesn't mean that there will actually be an actor portraying Johnny Cage as an actual character in a movie. Like, this could just mean that we see posters of Johnny Cage movies or whatever, and honestly I would not be surprised if that's all it is. But it would be disappointing because I feel like Johnny Cage is that comedic relief character we all need in a movie like this when it's super serious, right? He's a comedic relief we all love, even in the Mortal Kombat games, because he brings that distinctive energy of cockiness and over-the-top jokes, right? Honestly, I'm glad they did this interview and this promotion for the movie because it reassures me a lot on a lot of the things I had previous issues with, and now I'm actually even more hype and actually feel positive about the movie in general. The issue was how the trailer was cut. Like, it was not a good trailer. It was not indicative of what was going to be in the movie. Why show Mileena looking like that when they know they're going to CGI her mouth open like in the game? Like, why even do that? Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this also answered a lot of the questions you may have had about the movie. And I hope you enjoyed me getting triggered over the article's typos. So guys, have yourself a wonderful Friday, a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you all very soon.